Hi, welcome to the kit room. It's Thursday again. I'm James. Neil's here as well. How are you, Neil?
Yeah, not too bad. It's cold, hence why I've not got my England top. Brilliant way to start a Leicester. Yes, I'm wearing my top because I'm cold. I'll put the heating on, but it's still freezing. But apart from 2 wins, 12 goals, one conceded, I'm more than happy for a week's worth of football. What about yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Same as you. It's getting cold. Scoring at last. No doubt we'll have a lot to talk about when we talk about the two games. So let's get started then.
Go for it.
So Neil, Southampton versus Leicester. Was a close game. Not. Um, Record-breaking 9 goals. Where do we start? I've never seen a performance like that before. Generally, when teams go 5 or 6 up, they take the foot off the gas. But that game, it just went on and on. I know that I saw Vardy's interview, and he was saying that when they went 6-0 up, Johnny Evans told them that they can go for the record, and I think that spurred them on, and they just wouldn't stop. So my view of it, we played awesome. Southampton was the worst team I've probably seen on the TV in a long time. They couldn't defend, they couldn't attack. It was just appalling. So I feel a bit sorry for their fans. But what were your views on it?
What has been said that hasn't been said already is brilliant. Southampton were terrible, but more importantly, we capitalised on that. So if you look at our goal difference, I think we've got more goal difference than Liverpool, which is really, really awesome. And just way above a load of people in the league as well. But yeah, we played brilliantly. Southampton, again, as you said, were just. I looked at them and thinking, what are you? Is this like people you've got together just for this match? Like, when England plays San Marino, even
Yeah.
San Marino have more fight than them at times,
Yeah.
But again, it was a great performance, and again, the fact that they kept striving and kept their foot on the gas and just kept. Apologies if you can hear that as well. I could just hear the fireworks going on outside at the moment. Yeah, it was brilliant to watch, and just again all the way to the end, they didn't take their foot off, which is what we want to see. We want to see them kind of hammer teams into the ground and say we are here for the taking. And the more we can do this, the better we're going to look.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Man City do week in, week out. When they score 5 and 6, they don't take the foot off the gas. Because I'm under the impression that the top 4 are probably really, really close together at the minute. So at the end of the season, a European spot, an automatic European qualifier spot, could well come down to goal difference. So if you win it beating the team, just go out there and absolutely destroy them and get the goal difference. Because last game of the season, if we're 2 goals shy and we'd only won that 6-0, you'd be like, well, why didn't we go ahead and do that? So I understand why the goals are coming, because I think at the end of the season we may well need that goal difference. If you look at the way Man City are playing, the way Liverpool are playing, and especially the way Chelsea is now starting to click together, I think that goal difference might be vital.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when it comes to that, a 9-0 will definitely help that, especially away from home. Yeah, just with, as you see from the stats there, 25 shots, 15 on target, 73% possession, and it was just like a training match. But to be fair, yeah, when it comes down to that, it feels, did you hear a lot of the fans at the Burton game were singing we're going on a European tour and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So the fans have really got behind the idea of we can get into Europe. I've not heard that so far. So it's something that we're really looking forward to. And again, yeah, Southampton were crap. We were brilliant. Yeah, feel sorry for the Saints fans having to watch that, because I've watched some terrible Leicester football in my time. I don't think I've ever watched a match where we've got absolutely demolished like that. And when it top team, I remember like Arsenal, we got demolished, or Tottenham 6-2, 6-2, 6-1. Anyway, yeah, back to Leicester. It's brilliant to watch, and it secures in that top position. Which who doesn't want that as a Leicester fan?
Yeah, exactly. Watched the game, loved every minute of it. Definite sending off for me.
Yeah.
Quite surprised at Southampton's reaction after the sending off. Generally, after sendings off, teams get more compact, 10 man behind the ball, try and stop them scoring. but they just played as if the player just wasn't there and just carried on as normal. And there were gaps all over the place, which Rodgers does his homework. He knows where the gaps are, and they just exploit them time and time again. Madders was pulling the strings again. Vardy was on fire. Perez had a great game as well. I think they all played really, really well. The only person that looked under par was probably Schmeichel, because he had nothing to do and quite bored.
Yeah, and two players, just one you mentioned there, we were talking about recently with Perez. Is he going to come into form? And Chilwell, because Chilwell at times did look a bit dodgy. At times, he was looking unplayable. Yes, I know we've talked about the terrible Southampton side, but that shows you the full potential of this man if he's got the confidence behind him to push on. And if you look at some of the match of the day highlights, he was phenomenal. Some of the balls he was doing, some of the balls that Barnes was doing, but especially him and Perez really going for it and really showing people that this is what they're capable of, to us fans as well, and to just the Premier League in general. I think Chilwell got a goal and 2 or 3 assists in the game, which is phenomenal to see. And he just needs to take this confidence into the next game, because against Crystal Palace, it's going to be a tough game, to be honest. But him with Perez coming off the mark as well, this can only mean good things for him. They both look like the confidence players. So the fact is they can have a game like this, a brilliant performance in and come away with a win, massive smiles on their faces. One thing as well that surprised me, out of all the games we've had, I'm surprised that Ricardo didn't get on the assist sheet or the score sheet somehow. Him or Ndidi didn't get anything, but again, they both played phenomenally well in the game, as did, again, everybody you were saying, apart from Schmeichel, but that was entirely not his fault. But again, when he came to it, when he was called upon, he delivered, and that's what we want from a keeper.
Yeah, and I think it was only last week we were saying when this team clicks together, we're going to hammer someone, and we did.
We didn't hammer somebody. We shot them off the face of the planet with a bazooka.
Yeah, and I was saying that there's quite a few funny tweets, which maybe in some of the future shows we'll start doing the best tweets of the week, because I think some of them are quite funny from our fans. I saw one tweeting Hampshire Police saying there's been a robbery at St Mary's, and things like that, which I find really funny. And I think some of the Southampton fans, I think, took it quite funny as well, because they saw how bad they were, and I know. When your team's not playing well, as we know, when Leicester Championship days, we've been there, haven't we, many times?
Yeah.
And the fans do see the funny side of it, and they join in with the banter, which I thought was quite good. One thing I do want to mention, 60th minute, Southampton fans all holding the scarves up with us, and I thought that was tremendous. Also, on the back of the programme, there was a tribute to Vichai as well, which I thought was also tremendous. So a big thank you to the Southampton fans and the Southampton club for helping us. Probably with a bad anniversary, but I think they helped us quite well, and we obviously repaid them by putting 9 past them. So
that's how you repay any team for really helping us. But even at the 60th minute, I don't know how many were up at the time. It must have been like 5-6-0, and they're still helping. I mean, they could have easily. To be honest, as a Leicester fan, I don't know how if we would have been as nice. To be perfectly honest with you, there would have been a lot more. There's a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? Not quite sure if we do the same thing, to be honest. But yeah, credit to Southampton fans while they can, and yeah, just thanks for everything, and especially with the. I don't know if you've been down to the garden yet, James.
No, not yet. So we were down for the Vichai walk, as you know. And after the game, we went and looked at the flowers, and the garden was open then. It wasn't 100% finished, but it was about there. But no, seeing the pictures looks amazing. I've decided to kind of wait for a bit. I want to go down and pay my respects, but I don't want to go down there where it's a bit of a circus at the minute. I think there's still quite a few media hanging around, so just wanted to go down and pay our own respects, which we will do. Did you get a chance to go down on Sunday?
So yeah, I went down Sunday about 4:30. So it was enough time to kind of. I was surprised how not less busy it was. I didn't feel like taking, and so I was going to do live, and then you recommended me, leave it for a bit and we'll go live later. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see some pictures and videos from our perspective of the ground. But it's really nice. There's loads of really thoughtful touches and stuff. And overall, I just think it's a really good way of remembering somebody that meant so much to us. And if you get it at the right angle, if you look from one of the sides of the angle, you can look and see the what's it called, the background, with the gardens in the back, and it's just a really nice. I think they've designed it like that as well. Really, there's a water fountain, and then Vichai, and then the stadium behind it, and obviously that's where the accident happened. There's quite a nice contrast as well there. So it's one thing I remember putting on the chat as well, because we have like 100% chat. I don't know if you saw it. There's this little staple. Actually, let me read it now. I did take a picture of one of the signs that was there, but they did say everybody that put what's it called? The extraordinary collection of floral tributes, shirts, scarves, and mementos, including a series of personal handwritten messages, each one which has been preserved and is stored on this digital display. So they are going to have that. I don't think it was up at the time, but there is something that they're going to do. Probably, I don't know if it's going to be in the garden, but there's going to be something online that's going to have all of the shirts and stuff that's there, which I think is a really, really good way of remembering. And all the fans, not just from Leicester, but from all around the world that have come and helped out with this.
Yeah, I think even now we're still getting people saying must be difficult for you, and even I know quite a few fans from different clubs, and they all respect what he did. And I think a year on, it's still a bit raw, but people are now starting to understand the kind of owner he was, what he did for the club, what he did for the community, what he did for Leicester as a whole. And we see lots of pundits saying that no chairman has ever done what he did. Nobody puts into the community like he does. Yes, players give to charity, but he gave so much to the hospitals and the children's hospitals. And he's a kind of bloke that never ever turned a photo down for a fan. Even when he was in Europe, middle of Madrid, he was there taking photos with fans, saying hello to fans, and Top's exactly the same. He doesn't turn photos down. He seems a very humble family type man, and I think that's the key there, family. He sees this as a family. Whereas if you look at the Glaziers, you look at all the other chairmen around the world, and most of them are in because it's a business. And yes, King Power are here because it's a business. Don't get me wrong, it is a business, and they have to balance the books and make profit like any other business. But for me, they seem more than a business. It's kind of, as we would say, a family business. Everyone's in it together. Somebody falls, everyone helps each other out. Yes, we still need to make money out of things, but we're doing that. And for the first time, the players are doing that as well. So when we won the league, we always see Mahrez, Vardy, everyone together, very close unit. That's happening again. That close unit is back. They're helping each other out, and they spend quite a lot of personal time together. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's how we created the league win last time, and I think that's what we're doing again. I'm not sure if we'll win the league. I think we'll be up there. But it's only October, Neil. Let's be honest. There's a long way to go. Injuries may play a part, suspensions. But I'm really excited for once. You're going into October and you're really excited. Even when we won the league in October, I wasn't excited because you think, not in a million years is this ever going to happen.
Exactly.
And now I think to myself, it has happened before. Can it happen again? And then you try not to get excited again. But any time will tell. So any last thoughts on Southampton?
Commiserations to Southampton, but a credit to the team for playing so well and putting 9 past them. I was watching, everybody was sitting on the TV just watching it. I remember watching it going, this isn't happening. This is like a game of FIFA. This is like, I can't play FIFA, so I was playing like I that's how I would play if I was Southampton. Like I just don't know the buttons. I'm passing the ball wrong. I just go dribbling off the pitch. Like I'm terrible. But yeah, apart from Southampton, commiserations, fair play to all the good stuff you've done as well. It's been awesome to feel that from a Leicester perspective. But I guess onwards and upwards and on to the next game.
Okay. So next up it's Burton versus Leicester. So Neil, Burton versus Leicester, Carabao Cup, 3-1 win. Thought we played okay, 9 changes, which I thought I was expecting probably 9 changes anyway, due to the way Burton play, League One team, not doing the best. What were your thoughts on the game?
To be honest, I know you were watching the game. I didn't manage to get anything, so I didn't manage to watch the game. but I've just noticed the Burton logo now, and that's one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen as a logo. It's like something that's been drawn by an 8-year-old. Just with the football and everything. It's verging on being. It's funny, I'll give you that, but the actual game was pretty good. I'd say from not watching it, from just watching the highlights online. We seem like we played okay. I know you watched it all the way through, so to be fair, I'll just hand over to you because it seems like you've had more of an eye of what's going on, who played well. But I know you were saying I looked before we made 9 changes, and I was like, okay, he's obviously doing that because we're coming up to November now, and this is going to be the time where we're playing match after match after match after match. So, what were your thoughts? What do you think about the game in general?
I thought we played well. But as you get with all these lower league teams when we play them in the cup or when they play any Premier League team, really, they just go for it. I thought Burton were okay actually. They had quite a lot of chances. I think at one point Ward kept us in the game, if I'm honest. When we were 2-1 up, their goal came from a multiple of errors. One of the things I noticed last night is that that back four have not really played together much. So you got Morgan and Evans in the centre. They're not, obviously, as you know, they're not the 2 quickest. Fuchs played brilliant again. And you've got James Justin, who I'm really, really impressed with every time I've seen him play. I know he's for the future. I know Ricardo's keeping him out, but he does seem a really, really good talent. But I noticed last night the way we were defending, I don't think them 4 have played together that much. But that will come with time, as you know. And I think that will come with time. Your man Tillemans in midfield. Basically tore their midfield to pieces. We have to say again, Dennis Pratt is absolutely amazing.
Well, if I'm getting praise for Tillemans, you have to get fanboy for Pratt then as well.
Yeah,
you have to take that now. You can't just give that to me and not take Pratt. We've got a Belgium duo. We are
every game
boys.
Every game he's played, he puts his foot on the ball. He calms everybody down. Passes that are amazing. Again, last night he seemed to control that midfield, and I think that's really, really good. One of the downsides last night were the wingers. I know Brendan Rodgers has said many, many times before around he's not really happy with the wingers and what they're producing. O'Brien and Gray should have done so much better on a lot of the chances, especially as they're Premier League wingers. You'd expect them to hit the back of the net. I know O'Brien had 3 chances that he should have scored. Gray had a few. Both of them at times decision making looked really poor. So with regards to the wingers, what do we do? I know there's got January coming up. Do we go for a good winger in the window? And as we talked offline earlier, how many teams that won league and Champions League have got a winger that's world class and scores goals? Even when we won it, we had Mahrez, world class, scored a lot of goals. Man United in their best years had Giggs, scored lots of goals. Chelsea had Hazard, scored lots of goals. Even Man City got 2 strong wingers. They've now got Mahrez and Sterling, but again they've got strong wingers that score goals, and I think it takes the pressure off the strikers a bit.
So do you think that Perez or Perez obviously he's been there and done that a few times, and Barnes, because he's still got 4 or 5 assists this season, A, and B, you can see the potential to be there. Obviously not going to be a world changer or a world beater, but he's still got the potential to be that great player, because again he's only 21 years old. There's still so much time and potential and development to come out of that player.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Barnes, from what I saw last season he couldn't hit a barn door, let's be honest. And he was trying really, really hard. And I think towards the end of the season, he was trying too hard. But I don't know what's happened over the summer. He's come back and he's a different player. He's sharper. He's hitting the target nearly every time. His passes are quite accurate. He's passing to feet. His assists are going up and his goals are going up. Should have scored last night with this lad for offside. Looked level to me. But no VAR at the Carabao Cup, so not much we can do about that. But for me, Barnes, he's not the finished article, don't get me wrong, but I think he will be the finished article. And I think Rodgers sees that in him, which is why Rodgers likes playing him a lot. Perez, I'm not sure. You talk to the Newcastle fans, they will all say the same thing. He don't turn up till January, plays 1 in 10 games. So it'd be interesting. He had a great game against Southampton, but I think personally that's probably his first amazing game I've seen him play. He's been drifting in and out of games, so it'd be interesting to see how he does against Palace if he plays. So I think wingers-wise, I think we need a right winger, and I would keep Barnes on the left and have a decent right winger. Let's just get Mahrez back.
Yeah, if only. Hey, Mahrez would be great, but player. I think you talked about Shaqiri last week, but do you think we would? In my opinion, we probably wouldn't buy from the Premiership. We'd probably buy from somewhere abroad and hope for the best. Because the thing is, that's what Perez was supposed to do. Yeah. Perez was supposed to come in and be this kind of winger but the problem is he can't really take on a player like a Mahrez can. But again, to go and get a Mahrez, he was a 1 in a million. To be able to go and get this player from abroad. With the squad that we have we got the ability to do it again? And I don't know if we have, because Mahrez needed a couple of years to really develop, and then Ranieri kind of allowed him to play in the way that he wants to play. A, B, the styles has changed so that we've got the bombing wing backs, so they can kind of be more involved in the game. And C, we don't have is what the players that we're going to get in have to hit the ground running. They have to if they're going to come in and straight away. So if that's the case, it's going to be big money. And are we going to be willing to spend that? We can spend that, but it's just going out and buying a ready-made player that's going to fit straight into the team doesn't really seem like the Leicester way, even now and even after all the money we've spent.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's not as though we're going to spend 40 million on someone and they're going to fit straight in the team. Oh yeah, we did that with Tielemans, so.
But that's because he had. Do you think we would have spent 40 million initially from Monaco?
No, not at all.
Exactly. It's not because he had time here.
Yeah.
It's because he had time here. He knew what he could do in the team. So now I couldn't see us going out and doing it again. Basically, doing a Tielemans this year without loaning him. Potentially in summer buying him.
Percy thing. So it's been well documented that the Harry Maguire money was paid as a one-off fee, £80 million, which has not been spent. So you've got some great talent around the world. You've got Leon Bailey, who's amazing talent. He's only on 70 grand a week currently. Would not cost us the earth. Great talent, would probably fit straight in. But again, whoever you bring in, even is it Ziyech from I used to play for Ajax? I think he's still at Ajax. Another great winger. Would he fit straight in? Because the Ajax play a different system to us. So I know what you're saying. We need to see if you're going to buy someone big, they have to fit into your system straight away. And I think even when we bought Perez, Rodgers came out within the first few games saying it's going to take him 6 months to adapt to this system. And maybe he's the answer, but from what I've seen so far, probably not. But again, we're not 6 months in yet. That was Rodgers' thing, saying it'll take him 6 months to adjust. So I think what we've said before, let's have trust in Brendan. He knows what he's doing, and also he'll know what his targets are. So for me, January, I think one thing that I saw last night was Morgan and Evans played okay together, but not the best together, if I'm perfectly honest. So if something happens to Kaggs or Evans, then would we struggle at the back? Would we start leaking more? I don't know. I don't know what your views are on getting another centre back in, because for me, Benkovic has been here. He's playing for the under-23s quite a lot, but I'm not sure Brendan Rodgers rates him, because Scottish Premier is a completely different league. And he's come down here. He's now fit, but he's only getting in the under-23s. He's not even. I half expect him to play last night instead of Morgan, but he's still not playing. So is he not good enough, or they're doing what they did with Kaggs last year, getting him fit, getting him ready for the Premier League? And again, but will that take Benkovic a full season to get that standard, because currently I'm not sure people rate him, and I don't know if Rodgers rates him because I've not seen anything to suggest that he does.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But the difference is with Soyuncu, he was on the bench last year. He was playing in the cups. He was, even if it was only a few games, he would be around that there at a. It looks like Benkovic, if he's just stuck in the under 23s, isn't. So, and I think Rodgers knows how he is because he's played with him the most. He's played with him the most out of all of the players in our squad, just being 6 months up in Scotland, and he knows the difference what it's like in the Premier League compared to the Scottish League. So, I maybe he's doing what they're doing, but I can't see it. I think he'll go on loan, potentially back to Celtic. There's rumours I was looking today that he might go to West Brom because Slavan Bilic, who's a fellow Croatian as well, is quite a big fan of him as well, and he knows he can do well there. Would get, and then potentially get somebody in young that could develop through the squad as well. But do you think there's? I wouldn't say there's any room in the under 23s to bring somebody through, but overall, I think they might go out and, as you were saying, get a winger in and get a centre back in that can do a decent job.
Yeah,
have much backup, to be honest.
Yeah, I think some of the things I think about is in the summer, Rodgers said that he would assess Benkovic over the summer, and see how he was. That to me doesn't ring someone that says, yes, he's a class player, we'll try and get him in the squad as soon as we can. I think Rodgers knows the difference between the Scottish Premier League and the Premier League. It's a lot faster, it's a lot more skillful. So maybe Benkovic is going for that as a loan thing. I think for Benkovic himself, I'd hate for him to go back to Celtic. I don't think it's a very strong league. Well, we see it's not a very strong league when they play Premier League opposition. I don't think it's a very strong league. West Brom would be good for him, I think, because he would probably play quite a bit and his game would improve. And the Championship's not a million miles away from the Premier League. It's quite fast, it's quite competitive, it's a lot more skillful than it used to be. So I think that'd be a good move for him, if I'm honest.
So speaking to a point that you were coming back to earlier regarding Perez and how he's going to set him for 6 months. We've got Barnes coming in, and you've seen how much his development has been and how amazing it's been, as you were just saying earlier. But how do you think he's going to change from the time that Perez will take his time to bed in, and we're seeing game by game, match by match, Barnes is becoming a better and better player, bearing in mind, I was saying earlier, but in that time that Perez will get to 6 months, where do you think Barnes will be? Do you think he can be this player that kind of will slot in and can be this kind of Ziyech or the Bailly that you were talking about as well? So would we need to go out and splash the cash in January if Barnes is looking like potential to be a Premier League great?
I think so. I think one thing that Brendan Rodgers keeps hinting at is our squad in depth. So last night when I was watching them, I was always thinking about myself, okay, so this is a second string 9, let's say. But do we have squad in depth? And I think that's the worry for me, is that I want top 4 every single season. I don't want us to just get Champions League next year, get to the quarterfinals and that's it, and we finish mid-table. We need a squad that can compete on both fronts. And it'd be great for us to have that. So I think for me, squad in depth is a problem. And again, if something happened to Barnes, he got suspended, he got injured, who slots into that role that he's currently playing? Because Demarai Gray, I know we said Perez needs 6 months. How long's Demarai Gray? Had about 6 years.
Yeah, about 3 years, isn't it? Since he joined in it'll be 4 years in January.
Yes, so Demarai Gray again last night, his decision making, I think as a footballer, he can be a really good footballer. His decision making is just so poor. Like last night, I think he cut inside, and Tielemans was free, but then he shoots, doesn't go anywhere. I think there were a few opportunities where he could have picked Brighton out, didn't pick him out. He tries to shoot, so he always tries to go for the Hollywood goal, make the headlines, rather than his decision making. If he's more of a team player around decision making, I think he'd be a good player. But we've been saying that for, as you say, 4 years now. So I know a lot of Leicester fans during the game and after the game were saying, is it time to cut ties with Demarai Gray? If a bid comes in for January, would you let him go? I think it was Bournemouth after him 2 seasons ago, I know a lot of Leicester fans saying, well, maybe he should have gone then. Why is he still here? But I think that's harsh. I think Rodgers plays him because Rodgers believes in him. So Rodgers must be seeing things that we don't see. Well, obviously we don't see training, so maybe he's training really well, but not playing in the match very well. I don't know. I don't know what your views are on it.
I think this is the make or break season for Gray. He's been in the squad long enough. He's been around long enough. And I've said before that he's been what's the word? Leapfrog. Can't remember the word.
Yeah.
He's been jumped over by Chilwell, by
Yeah.
Maddison, by Barnes, maybe James Justin soon as well. So he's seen all these players that have come into the first team after him and actually taken and solidified their place. Now he should be kind of asking them, going, lads, what do I do? Lads, how do I get up to where you're going? Lads, how can I get in this first team as well? And bearing in mind, winger is a place where we've got a competition for sure. But for example, Maddison came in, slotted in, that's his position. And Perez is coming, but there is an opportunity for him to be there. And again, his potential is still there. But it's just a make or break for him and Nacho, I think, is this season is last straw. And I think at the end of this season, Gray's contract is up anyway. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, because I think he signed a 4-year contract at the time when we were going to win the league. So this is going to be the 4th year he's going to be here. So how much he develops in this time, we will have to see. But again, it's make or break, I think, for particular. But apart from that, the rest of the squad's looking fantastic. But them two players, I think it might have to just be get rid of some of the deadwood. And unfortunately, although they're not quite deadwood, they're just verging on maybe they need to be moved on.
Yep, possibly right. We know that Rodgers will probably have them conversations in January and in the summer of who he wants, who he doesn't want. So I think you may be right, because obviously we're not sure who Rodgers wants to work with. Some of the players have probably got potential in training, but we don't see that. The ones we do see, Barnes, as you say, is come on leaps and bounds. Chilwell's come on leaps and bounds. So for me, Chilwell, Ricardo, James Justin, even Tielemans to an extent, they're all responded really, really well to coaches and how Brendan Rodgers wants them to play, how they need to adapt. So I've seen their games change. And one thing I did want to mention is Jamie Vardy. Also this year, he's running more, he's doing more. His runs are a lot smarter. His skills better. His goal scoring's better. He's now become that total striker. I think 3 years ago, Neil, he was this striker that was quick. That's what he had going for him. He was quick. He was lightning fast. He'd scored great goals, but he was lightning fast. His decision making maybe not the best at times, but himself, he's worked on that for the last 2 seasons, and he has now become this total striker. One of the greatest Premier League strikers that people will ever see, and we'll talk about it for years to come. But he's getting better. Generally, as you know, when strikers get older, they don't score as much. They don't become as good. But the top strikers adapt their game because they know they're not as quick as they used to be. And he's done that. He's still fast, but his runs are so much better than they used to be. For me, he's turning into this total striker in the last 2 years. And I think Brendan Rodgers has helped that. Brendan Rodgers will know how to handle him and what he needs to do. And I think him and the coaches have done that with him. And for me, Vardy has just become this better player. And I know there's talk of him going back to England. I think the reason for that is because the last time he was called up to England, he was this fast striker and maybe not fitting there. But now he's this total striker. I think maybe Vardy needs to probably rethink it. I'm not sure he'll ever get in the England team because of the way the FA is structured. But I think for me, the way he's played and the way he's doing things lately, it's win-win for me. I'm not sure what your views are on it.
Yeah, well, you pretty much nailed a lot of things I was going to say. And also, if you look at the type of goals he was scoring over the last few games, it's not just tap-ins or sending it high into the net. It's clever runs, as you were saying. And also, it's the kind of thing England need. If you look at the best English striker, it's Jamie Vardy. This season so far, it has to be Jamie Vardy. There's nobody that really comes close. Rashford is not really an out-and-out striker. He kind of looks a bit alone. He doesn't really know what he's doing in that role as well. So if Jamie Vardy wants it, because the last thing you want to do is say, yeah, I'm going back to the English squad. They put you in the English squad, and then they treat you like they did last time with the Euros, where he did score and did play well. But I see there's always going to be a bias because he's not in a top 6 team. Ironically, he technically this season is in a top 6 team. He's the top goal scorer this season so far. So I think he may get called up. I don't think he'll want it. I think he'll want to spend time with his family. He'll want to spend time with Leicester as well. So I think even if they do try and call him up, I think he'll probably go thank you, but no thanks, because he's seen what it's like. He's seen the kind of bias there is towards the top 6 teams, even if they're not as good. So even if Jamie Vardy was legible, I don't think he would go, to be honest. So it's a good thought, good idea, but too little, too late. They would have said, well, he probably would have said, well, if you wanted to play me, why didn't you play me later? Why didn't you take me off the bench and play me? But the team is not structured around him. He works when the team is structured around him. So when he comes off the bench, when we've seen him in the World Cup, he just kind of came on and the World Cup, the Euros 2 years ago. He kind of came off the bench, didn't really do anything too much, and then he just kind of looked lost because the team were trying to play his strength. When you play to Vardy's strengths, regardless of the team plays well. But England have got too big an ego in order to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think win-win for us. We've got Vardy and he's playing well. They're all playing well at the minute. So that's the Southampton game reviewed. That's the Burton game reviewed. Next week we've got Palace. Looking forward to that. Are you here next week, Neil?
I am here, yes. I don't know if I'll be going to the game, so still trying to get a ticket. Hopefully I'll be there. We'll have to see, but I'm hoping for a good result against Palace.
Yep, me too. Right, that's it from us this week. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, James. Cheers.
Bye.